Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Daily Talk. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Chris. We're so happy you're here with us today.
If you've ever had a job interview in English, or even imagined having one, today's episode is for you.
Because today we're talking about something that makes a lot of people nervous: tricky interview questions.
Not the normal ones like, tell me about yourself or what are your strengths.
No, we mean the strange ones, the unexpected ones, the questions that make you smile for 1 second and then panic for the next five.
Questions like, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Or, what would you do if you disagreed with your manager?
Or even, what kind of tree are you?
I still think that tree question is a little unfair.
It is, but it also teaches us something important. In real interviews, especially in English, the biggest challenge is not always vocabulary.
Sometimes the biggest challenge is staying calm when you don't expect the question.
Exactly. So in today's episode, we're going to help you do three things.
First, understand why interviewers ask tricky questions.
Second, learn natural English phrases you can actually use when you need time to think.
And third, practice answering unusual questions in a calm, clear, and professional way.
So if you've ever felt frozen, nervous, or completely unprepared in an interview, take a deep breath.
You're in the right place.
Let's begin.
Before we jump into the main conversation, let's start with a simple truth.
You do not need a perfect answer to every interview question.
That's right. Let's say that again.
You do not need a perfect answer.
What you need is a thoughtful answer,
A clear answer.
an honest answer.
And most importantly, an answer that shows how you think.
Because in many interviews, especially when the question is unusual, the interviewer is not testing whether you have memorized the correct response.
They're often testing your communication, your confidence, and your ability to think on your feet.
That phrase is one of our key expressions today. Think on your feet.
It means to react quickly and intelligently in a difficult or unexpected situation.
For example, good team leaders know how to think on their feet.
Another phrase we'll use today is put on the spot.
If someone puts you on the spot, they ask you to answer something immediately, often without warning,
Like in a meeting.
or an interview.
Or when a friend suddenly asks, so what's your 5-year plan?
I never enjoy that question at dinner.
Me neither, but it's good English.
It is,
So now let's imagine a scene.
you're sitting in an interview room.
Maybe it's online. Maybe it's in person.
You've prepared the basic answers.
You practiced your introduction.
You reviewed your experience.
You even smiled at the right moments.
And then the interviewer leans forward and says,
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
silence.
Total silence.
Your brain leaves the room.
Your English disappears.
Suddenly, you don't even know what a tree is.
Exactly. And that's the moment we want to fix today.
So let's do a role play,
I'll be the interviewer first.
and I'll be the candidate,
Ready?
as ready as a future tree can be.
Good. Let's begin. Thank you for coming in today, Chris. I'd like to ask you something a little different. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for a second.
Good start already.
I'd probably say an oak tree,
Why an oak tree?
because I think an oak tree represents stability and reliability. In a work environment, I try to be someone my team can depend on, especially during busy or stressful periods.
That's a strong answer. Now let's pause there.
Notice that I didn't answer immediately.
Right. You bought yourself time in a natural way.
I said, that's an interesting question, and let me think about that for a second.
These are very useful phrases because they sound calm, not weak.
That's important. Many learners worry that taking time will make them sound less confident.
But actually, speaking too fast without thinking often sounds less confident.
Exactly. A small pause can make you sound more professional.
And then you chose a simple answer.
Yes, I didn't try to be too clever.
That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. They think unusual questions need brilliant, dramatic answers.
But usually, a simple answer with a clear reason is much better.
So if the interviewer asks about a tree, they probably do not care deeply about forests.
They care about your traits.
Another keyword, traits.
A trait is a quality in someone's personality.
For example, patience is a trait. Reliability is a trait. Curiosity is a trait.
So when you get a strange question, try to connect your answer to a professional trait.
Exactly. That is the hidden purpose of many tricky interview questions.
Let's try another one.
Okay, this time you're the interviewer.
Gladly. Jessica, thank you for being here today. Here's my question. If you could have any superpower in the workplace, what would it be?
That's a creative question. I'd probably choose the ability to stay calm under pressure and help other people stay calm too.
That's not exactly a superhero power,
I know, but I'm interpreting the question in a professional way.
which is smart.
Because in a real interview, I want to guide the answer back to something useful. So I might say, if I think about this in a work context, I'd choose the ability to solve problems quickly while keeping the team focused.
That sounds much stronger than saying, I want to fly.
Yes, unless the job is somehow related to flying.
Fair point.
So here's another tip. When the question seems strange, don't panic about the literal meaning.
Focus on the intention behind the question.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what is this question really trying to learn about me?
Is it about my creativity?
My communication?
My flexibility?
My values?
My ability to handle pressure?
Once you understand the deeper purpose, your answer becomes easier.
Let's give everyone a simple structure.
Yes, a three-step structure.
Step 1. Buy time politely.
For example, that's an interesting question.
Or, I haven't thought about it that way before.
Or, let me think about that for a moment.
Step 2. Interpret the question.
For example, if I understand it correctly, this question is really about how I work under pressure.
Or, to me, this relates to adaptability.
Or, I think the main idea here is how I approach challenges,
Step 3. Connect it to a professional strength or value.
such as reliability, flexibility, teamwork, communication, responsibility, or growth.
So your full answer becomes calm, thoughtful, and relevant.
Let's model that again with another question.
Okay, Jessica, here's your question. What would you do if you made a mistake at work and nobody noticed?
That's a very realistic one.
And a little uncomfortable.
Yes, okay, here's my answer. I'd correct the mistake as soon as possible and inform the right person if it affected other people or the project. I think accountability is very important in the workplace, and in the long run, trust matters more than avoiding a difficult conversation.
Excellent.
Notice that this question is not weird in the same way as the tree question.
But it is tricky.
Yes, because it tests your values.
The interviewer wants to know what kind of professional you are when nobody is watching.
Exactly. So tricky questions are not always silly questions.
Sometimes they are ethical questions.
Sometimes they are pressure questions,
Sometimes they are self-awareness questions.
and sometimes they are personality questions.
Let's list a few common tricky interview questions people may hear.
Good idea. Here are some examples.
Tell me about a time you failed.
Why should we hire you instead of someone more experienced?
What would your previous manager say is your biggest weakness?
If your team disagreed with you, what would you do?
What motivates you when the work becomes repetitive?
How do you respond to criticism?
Would you rather be liked or respected?
What's one thing you still need to improve professionally?
What would you do in your first 30 days in this role?
Describe a difficult coworker and how you handled the situation.
None of those are impossible,
But all of them become difficult when you're nervous.
especially in another language.
That's why we want to focus not only on the answer, but also on the mindset.
Yes, because if your mindset is wrong, even simple questions feel impossible.
So let's talk about mindset.
The first thing is this: a difficult question is not always a trap.
I love that point.
Many people assume the interviewer is trying to catch them making a mistake.
But often the interviewer is simply trying to understand how they think.
So instead of thinking, oh no, they're trying to trick me, try thinking, okay, this is a chance to show how I respond.
That small change in mindset makes a huge difference.
The second thing is, you are allowed to pause.
Yes, professional speakers pause all the time.
Good communicators do not rush every sentence.
And in interviews, a pause can show control.
The third thing is, keep your answer structured.
Even if your vocabulary is not perfect, structure creates clarity.
For example, if someone asks you about failure, you can structure your answer like this: what happened, what you learned, and what you changed.
Exactly. Interviewers usually appreciate reflection more than perfection.
Let's practice that one.
Okay, ask me.
Tell me about a time you failed.
Sure. Early in my career, I underestimated how long a project would take and gave my team an unrealistic timeline. As a result, we had to rush near the end, which created stress for everyone. I learned that good planning includes room for unexpected problems, and since then, I've become much more careful about setting realistic expectations and communicating early when a schedule needs to change.
That's great.
Thanks. Why does that answer work?
Because you didn't pretend you've never failed.
Right.
You were honest.
Yes,
You showed self-awareness.
exactly.
And most importantly, you showed growth.
That's the word. Growth.
Interviewers do not expect perfect people.
They want people who can learn.
So if you're answering a difficult question, think about these three qualities: honesty, clarity, and growth.
Let's do another example. I'll ask you a question this time.
Go ahead.
Why should we hire you instead of someone more experienced?
That's a strong question. Here's how I'd answer. Experience is valuable, of course, but I believe I bring a combination of adaptability, strong communication, and a real willingness to learn quickly. I also take feedback seriously, and I work hard to become dependable as fast as possible. So while someone else may have more years of experience, I would bring energy, commitment, and a growth mindset to the role.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That answer avoids one common mistake.
Comparing yourself in an aggressive way?
Exactly. You don't want to insult imaginary candidates?
Yes. Never say, because other people are lazy and I'm amazing,
Please don't.
even if you think it.
Especially if you think it.
Right. A strong answer highlights your own value without sounding defensive or arrogant.
That's a very important balance in interviews.
Confident, not arrogant.
Honest, not weak.
Thoughtful, not overcomplicated.
Natural, not robotic.
That last one matters a lot for English learners.
Yes. Sometimes people memorize answers so carefully that they stop sounding human.
And then one unexpected question destroys the whole performance.
Exactly. Memorization can help in moderation, but flexibility matters more.
Which brings us back to our key phrase: think on your feet.
So, how do we actually improve that skill?
Great question.
First, practice answering questions out loud, not only in your head.
This is so important.
Many learners think, yes, yes, I know what I would say.
But knowing in your mind is different from saying it clearly with your voice.
Especially under pressure.
Second, practice with categories, not only exact questions.
For example, prepare for questions about strengths, weaknesses, teamwork, conflict, mistakes, motivation, goals, and values.
That way, even if the exact wording is different, you already know the general area.
Third, practice your buying time phrases until they feel natural.
Like, that's a good question?
Let me think about that for a second.
I haven't been asked that before.
I'd like a moment to consider that,
These phrases are small, but they are powerful.
because they help you stay calm while sounding professional.
Fourth, listen to your own answers.
Yes, record yourself.
I know some people hate that,
Most people hate it.
but it works.
It really does. When you listen back, you notice if you sound too fast, too unclear, or too repetitive.
You also notice if your answer is actually structured.
Fifth, remember that short answers are okay.
Please hear that clearly. Short answers are okay.
Some learners think they need to speak for 3 minutes to sound intelligent.
Not true.
A clear answer in 4 sentences is better than a confusing answer in 40.
And if the interviewer wants more detail, they can ask a follow-up question.
Exactly.
Let's do a section now where we imagine several tricky questions and give model answers.
I like this part.
Me too. Ready?
Ready?
Question 1. What animal best describes your work style?
That's an interesting question. I'd probably say a dolphin. I think dolphins are intelligent, cooperative, and good at working with others, and those are qualities I value in a professional environment.
Nice, short, and clear.
Thank you.
Question 2. If you had to learn a completely new skill for this job, how would you approach it?
My approach would be to understand the goal first, then break the skill into smaller parts and learn them step by step. I usually learn best by combining observation, practice, and feedback, so I try to apply that process as quickly as possible.
Great use of the word approach.
Thank you for noticing.
Question 3. What would you do if your manager gave you unclear instructions?
I would first clarify the expectations by asking specific questions, then summarize my understanding to make sure we were aligned. I think clear communication prevents mistakes and saves time for everyone,
Very strong.
because it shows communication and responsibility.
Exactly. Question 4. What kind of coworker is difficult for you to work with?
I try to work well with different personalities, but I think communication becomes difficult when people avoid responsibility or don't communicate openly. In those situations, I try to stay professional, focus on the work, and address issues early rather than letting frustration grow.
That answer is smart because it's honest but still respectful,
Right. You don't want to sound dramatic.
or full of personal complaints.
Exactly.
Question 5. What keeps you motivated when the work becomes repetitive?
For me, motivation comes from remembering the bigger purpose behind the work. Even repetitive tasks often support larger goals, and I also like finding small ways to improve efficiency or quality over time.
Excellent. That sounds mature.
Thank you.
Let's pause for a moment and talk about tone.
Yes, tone matters a lot.
Sometimes your words are okay, but your tone makes the answer weaker.
For example, if you answer a difficult question with a nervous laugh and then say, I don't know, maybe, I guess,
It sounds less confident, even if your idea is good.
right. So here are 3 tone tips.
First, slow down slightly.
Not too slow.
Just enough to sound steady.
Second, finish your sentences.
This sounds obvious, but when people are nervous, they often leave thoughts unfinished.
Third, avoid apologizing too much.
Yes. Don't begin every answer with, "Sorry, my English is bad."
Please don't do that.
It immediately lowers your confidence.
Instead, focus on communicating the idea as clearly as possible.
Most interviewers care much more about clarity and attitude than perfect grammar.
Especially if the role does not require flawless native level English.
And even when English is important, confidence and communication still matter.
Let's do a more detailed role play now.
Great. This time we'll imagine a real interview.
I'll be the interviewer, and Chris will answer several tricky questions in a row.
Let's do it.
Thanks for joining us today, Chris. Let's start with something simple. Tell me about yourself.
Certainly. I'm someone who enjoys solving practical problems, working with people, and improving processes over time. In my recent work, I've focused on projects that required communication, organization, and adaptability. And I've learned that I do my best work when I'm part of a team that values responsibility and continuous improvement.
Good. Now, what would you say is one weakness you're still working on?
One thing I've been working on is knowing when to stop refining something. Earlier in my career, I sometimes spent too much time trying to improve details when the main goal had already been achieved. Over time, I've become better at balancing quality with efficiency and understanding when something is ready to move forward.
Nice. Now, a more difficult one. If your team disagreed with your idea, how would you handle it?
I would try to understand the reason behind the disagreement before defending my own point too quickly. In my experience, good discussion often improves the final result. So I'd listen carefully, ask questions, and if necessary, adjust my approach based on stronger information or a better perspective.
Very good. Now let's try something more unexpected. If your work style had a weather pattern, what would it be?
That's a creative question. I'd say steady sunlight with occasional rain. I like to bring consistency and a calm presence to a team, but I also believe that occasional challenge or pressure can help people grow and adapt.
I love that answer.
Thank you. I was worried about becoming a thunderstorm.
That might be memorable, but maybe not for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Final question. Why do you want this role?
I'm interested in this role because it seems to combine problem solving, collaboration, and the opportunity to grow in a meaningful way. I'm especially motivated by environments where people are expected to learn continuously, communicate clearly, and contribute to a shared goal. And that's the impression I get from this position.
Great. End of interview.
Thank you for having me.
That role play showed something important.
What's that?
Even when the questions change, the answer strategy stays similar.
Yes, pause, understand, connect, answer clearly.
That simple pattern works again and again.
Let's talk now about one of the hardest, tricky questions. Tell me about your biggest weakness.
Ah, yes. The classic,
This question is difficult because many people feel they must choose between two bad options.
one bad option is giving a fake weakness,
Like, I just work too hard.
which everyone recognizes immediately.
The other bad option is giving a weakness that truly makes the interviewer worry.
Like, I struggle with responsibility and I hate deadlines.
That is very honest, but maybe too honest.
Exactly. So what should you do?
Choose a real weakness that is manageable and improving.
That phrase is important. Manageable and improving.
In other words, it should be something true, but not something that destroys your professional image.
And then you need to explain what you're doing about it.
Let's model that.
Here's one example. I used to feel uncomfortable speaking up early in group discussions, especially when more experienced people were involved. Over time, I realized that waiting too long sometimes meant useful ideas were lost, so I've been practicing contributing earlier and preparing key points in advance.
That's a strong answer because it shows self awareness, effort, and growth.
Exactly.
Here's another example. I sometimes take on too much myself because I want to make sure everything is done well. I've learned that this can slow down the team, so I've been working on delegating more clearly and trusting other people's strengths.
Again, much better than saying, my weakness is that I'm a perfectionist, with no reflection.
Right.
Another tricky area is conflict questions.
Yes. Questions like, tell me about a conflict with a coworker.
Many people answer these badly because they focus too much on the other person being difficult.
That's true.
They tell a long story about how terrible their coworker was.
But the interviewer usually cares more about how you handled the situation.
So the best structure is brief context, what you did, and what the outcome was.
Let's do an example.
Okay,
In one project, a coworker and I had different priorities and communication styles, which created tension and slowed down decision making. Instead of letting the frustration continue, I asked for a direct conversation so we could clarify expectations and find a better way to divide responsibilities. That discussion helped us understand each other better, and after that, our collaboration became much smoother.
Perfect. That answer stays professional.
Right. No unnecessary drama.
no insults.
No emotional explosion,
Just maturity.
which is exactly what interviewers want to hear.
Let's now imagine the listeners feeling nervous and thinking, this all sounds good, but in a real interview, I'll still panic.
That's a normal feeling.
Very normal.
So let's speak directly to that listener for a moment.
If that's you, here's what we want you to remember.
You do not need to become a different person in interviews.
You do not need a perfect accent.
You do not need to sound like a movie character.
You do not need an advanced answer for every possible question in the universe.
What you need is a reliable process,
A way to slow your mind down.
a way to organize your thoughts.
A way to sound calm even when you feel nervous.
And that process can absolutely be practiced.
It's not magic.
It's a skill.
Let's share a few natural phrases for different situations.
Good idea.
If you need time, you can say,
If you want to clarify, you can say,
If you want to structure your answer, you can say,
if you want to show reflection, you can say,
if you want to sound more professional, you can say,
these phrases do not only help your English,
they also help your thinking.
because they create little moments of structure inside the conversation.
Now let's do one more section of model answers, but this time a little more conversational.
I'll ask short questions and you answer naturally.
Let's go.
What motivates you?
I'm motivated by progress, meaningful collaboration, and the feeling that my work is contributing to something useful. I also enjoy learning, so I'm happiest in roles where I can keep improving.
How do you handle stress?
I try to handle stress by staying organized, focusing on priorities, and communicating early when something needs attention. I've learned that stress becomes much more manageable when problems are addressed directly instead of avoided.
What would your manager say about you?
I think they would say I'm dependable, thoughtful, and willing to take responsibility. I'd also hope they would say I'm open to feedback and easy to work with.
Why do you want to change jobs?
I'm grateful for what I've learned in my current role, but I'm ready for a new environment that offers more growth, challenge, and opportunities to contribute in a bigger way.
What do you do when you don't know the answer to something?
I try to be honest about what I know and what I still need to learn. Then I focus on finding the answer efficiently, whether that means researching, asking the right person, or testing a solution carefully.
Very good.
Thank you.
Let's switch.
Okay, Jessica, how do you deal with criticism?
I try to treat criticism as useful information, especially when it's specific and constructive. Even when feedback is difficult to hear, I think it's valuable because it helps me improve and see blind spots I might miss on my own.
What kind of work environment helps you do your best work?
I do my best work in environments where communication is clear, expectations are reasonable, and people are willing to support each other while still maintaining high standards.
Tell me about a time something didn't go according to plan.
In one project, an important part of the process took longer than expected and affected the overall timeline. Instead of pretending the problem would disappear, I communicated the delay early, adjusted the next steps, and focused on keeping the team aligned. It wasn't ideal, but it taught me the importance of transparency and flexibility.
What does success mean to you?
Success means doing work I can be proud of, continuing to grow, and contributing positively to the people and projects around me. For me, success is not only about results, but also about how those results are achieved.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I think one reason interview questions feel difficult is that they combine language and identity.
That's such a good point.
You're not only translating English,
You're also trying to express who you are.
your values, your personality, your ambitions, your professionalism,
And that can feel deeply personal,
especially when you care about the opportunity.
which is why self-judgment becomes dangerous.
Yes.
If after every sentence you think, was that wrong? Was that weird? Was my grammar terrible? Your confidence disappears.
So here's another mindset shift. Instead of aiming for flawless English, aim for clear meaning.
Clear meaning over perfect language.
That's the goal.
And remember, real professional communication is rarely perfect anyway.
Native speakers pause.
Native speakers rephrase.
Native speakers forget words.
Native speakers answer awkwardly sometimes too.
Absolutely.
So do not imagine that success means sounding like a machine.
Success means connecting your idea to the listener clearly and calmly.
Let's do a final extended section now called Interview Rescue.
I like that title.
In this section, we'll imagine the candidate gets a difficult question and starts to panic, but then rescues the answer.
Very realistic.
Okay, scenario 1. The interviewer asks, what kind of leader would you be?
Panic answer. I don't know, maybe good? I mean, not perfect, but I try.
Rescue version?
I'd describe my leadership style as calm, responsible, and collaborative. I believe a good leader should give direction when needed, listen carefully, and create an environment where people can do their best work.
Much better. Scenario 2. Why do you think you're qualified for this role?
Panic answer. Because I really want it, and I think I can do it, and I'll try my best.
Rescue version?
I believe I'm qualified because my previous experience has helped me build the communication, problem solving, and organizational skills this role requires. I also learn quickly and take responsibility seriously, which I think would help me contribute effectively from the start.
Excellent. Scenario 3. What would you do if you disagreed with a decision?
Panic answer. I guess I would maybe say something, but maybe not, depending.
Rescue version?
If I disagreed with the decision, I would first try to understand the reasoning behind it. If I still had concerns, I'd raise them respectfully and focus on the issue rather than emotion. At the same time, I understand that once a decision is made, it's important to support the team and move forward professionally.
That sounds strong and balanced.
Because balance is important in many interview answers.
Yes. Not too passive, not too aggressive.
Not too vague, not too complicated.
Not too humble, not too arrogant.
Exactly.
Before we finish, let's do a short review of today's most useful expressions.
Great idea.
Expression 1. Put on the spot.
Meaning, asked to answer immediately in a stressful situation.
Example. I was put on the spot during the interview, but I stayed calm.
Expression 2, think on your feet.
Meaning, respond quickly and intelligently in an unexpected situation.
Example. In customer-facing roles, it's important to think on your feet.
Expression 3. Trait.
Meaning, a quality in someone's personality.
Example. Reliability is a valuable trait in the workplace.
Expression 4, approach.
Meaning, a way of dealing with something.
Example. My approach is to clarify expectations early and communicate clearly.
Expression 5. Accountability.
Meaning, taking responsibility for your actions.
Example. Good professionals show accountability when mistakes happen.
Expression 6, adaptability.
Meaning, the ability to adjust to change. Example. Adaptability is especially important in fast-changing work environments.
And now, let's leave our listeners with a few final reminders.
Reminder 1. It is okay to pause.
Reminder 2, you do not need a perfect answer.
Reminder 3. Focus on the purpose behind the question.
Reminder 4, connect your answer to a professional trait or value.
Reminder 5. Short, clear answers are often stronger than long, confusing ones.
Reminder 6, practice out loud.
And reminder 7. Confidence grows through repetition, not magic.
I love that.
Me too.
Let's close with one final mini role play. I'll ask the question and you give the kind of answer we hope our listeners can build after practicing this episode.
Okay, let's do it.
If you were asked a question you had never prepared for, how would you handle it?
I would stay calm, take a moment to think, and focus on answering honestly and clearly. I've learned that in interviews, it's not about having a perfect response to everything. It's about showing how you think, how you communicate, and how you handle unexpected situations.
That might be the whole lesson of today's episode.
I think so.
So, to everyone listening, whether you're preparing for an interview now or just building confidence in English for the future, we hope this helped you.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep giving yourself permission to pause, think, and answer in your own voice.
Your English does not need to be perfect to sound professional.
It needs to be clear, calm, and real.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
And if this episode was useful, listen to it again while walking, commuting, or relaxing. Repetition is one of the best ways to make these phrases feel natural.
We'll be back with more real English for real life in the next episode of Season 4.
Until then, take care of yourself and keep learning.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time.
And before we truly say goodbye, let's leave you with a final reflection.
Yes.
One more quiet thought.
Sometimes, the most difficult part of speaking English is not grammar.
It's fear.
The fear of being judged.
The fear of making a mistake.
The fear of sounding less intelligent than you really are.
And interviews can make all of that feel even stronger.
But every time you answer a difficult question, even imperfectly, you are building something important.
Not just vocabulary,
Not just fluency.
but trust in yourself.
The trust that says, I may not know every word, but I can still communicate.
I may feel nervous, but I can still stay present.
I may not sound perfect, but I can still sound clear.
That kind of confidence grows slowly.
But it grows.
So let today's episode be more than interview practice.
Let it be communication practice.
Let it be self-trust practice.
Let it remind you that your voice becomes stronger every time you use it,
Even in uncertainty.
especially in uncertainty.
Now we can say goodbye.
Yes, now we really can.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon.